Welcome to another episode of Keep It on the SDL. My name is Steph DeLanda. If you like this video, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Head to stephdelandastore.com, use the code SDL YouTube for 10% off always.
Meet me where I'm at. Yeah. Step into the jungle. Step into the jungle.
Guys, today we have a fun topic. This is a question that I get asked often, and that is, what is it like to wrestle a man? Well, it's similar to wrestling a female, but it's different in a lot of ways, right? And people feel all sorts of different ways about intergender wrestling. People feel all sorts of ways even about the word intergender wrestling. We've seen a huge shift recently in the last few years of companies that have been ditching their women's championships and opening up their divisions that were once only for men. Now we see women becoming world heavyweight champions. Now we see women becoming intercontinental champions, US champions. We have, women winning all sorts of championships in wrestling and all sorts of bouts, in multiple different companies on the indies and higher levels. So this topic has become, quite a talking point in the last 5 or so years in the lineage of wrestling, I would say. So let's dive into it. Again, everyone has different opinions, and the opinions that I say today are mine only. They're not reflective of anyone else. They're not reflective of any companies I work for. This is just how I feel. This is from my experiences. So if you get triggered by any of it, reach out and let's have a combo. So I came from a training school that men and women trained together, which I personally think was really good for getting used to working with all sorts of different shapes and sizes, right? Like men and women's bodies and strength and speed and agility, and and it's not even just with men and women, it's being able to work with a whole bunch of different people at different skill levels. You become more adaptable, right? So if I was only ever training with women, there are certain movements that realistically I probably never would have been able to practice. For example, taking certain moves. So for me to take a power bomb, Grinch is bringing me Grinch. For me to take a power bomb, I need people big enough and strong enough to literally be able to pick me up in that position over and over again. The reality is there aren't many women out there who can do that, but obviously a lot of men can. So that was good, getting to mix it up with everyone so I could practice being the strong one in a situation, but then also being the one I could practice taking those moves. I could practice giving a head scissors, right? Whereas there's not many girls that I could really give a head scissors to, and A, it would make sense, and B, they would be able to hold me. So training with men and women, it was good for me to get to play both sides. And then once I started wrestling on shows, again, the school that I was at, they would do intergender matches on shows all the time. It was just not even a question. Men and women would wrestle each other the same way that women would wrestle each other and men would wrestle each other. It was just, we are all part of the division, right? So that was, again, good. Can you guys see Grinch just acting out? That was good because that, yet again, gave me the ability to work with a whole bunch of different people. In Australia, we had maybe 4 or 5 girls at our company. So if I was only allowed to wrestle the women, I would have been handicapped and handcuffed because I only would have been able to wrestle the same for other people. Whereas because I could wrestle the guys, I could wrestle a whole host of different opponents. It gave me a whole bunch of new experiences. It meant I could do so many different things. That was awesome. But on the flip side of that is, what I do see sometimes is, with women that wrestle predominantly with men, if you are trying to get to TV, so if you're trying to get to WWE, AEW, or TNA, where we don't have intergender wrestling, if you become so comfortable only really wrestling men as a girl, then when you are on TV and then you are back in a women's division where you only are allowed to wrestle with other women, if you have not had enough experience in that situation, that can also be detrimental in its own way, because for plenty of reasons, right? Like, there are certain things physiologically, I can't say that word, physiologically, Grinch, quiet. It's really hard to record with dogs. Grinch, quiet. There are certain things physiologically that are different, right? So the movement. So the way that our bodies move for certain movements, right? The timing of certain things, the strength and the capabilities as well. So if I am taking a suplex from a 300-pound strong, you know, like super strong, beefed up, jacked up guy, I know they're going to be able to toss me around. So it's not as important for me to post and hold my body weight. But if I am taking a suplex from another girl, I'm going to have to fucking help out a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm going to have to put in a bit more oomph, because neither of us are as strong, you know, to just yeet each other the same way that a giant man would be able to. So there's little idiosyncrasies like that I think some people don't even really think about until you're in that position. So I think it's important to have a good mix of training with and also wrestling with everyone. The other thing too is, like, there's some companies that just absolutely refuse to book intergender, and I understand why, and I'm not really going to get into all of that. Everyone has their own reasonings behind all sorts of decisions, but it is disheartening as a girl, because if there's not many other girls in the area, then you're just not getting the experience, and sometimes you're not even getting opportunities. Like, I've had shows that wanted to book me, but they were like, we can't find an opponent for you, so we can't have you wrestle. So like, I've literally lost bookings just by being a girl, because there was no one else for me to wrestle. So there's definitely been times where I've been like, fuck, just let me wrestle one of the guys, who cares, right? But, you know, of course it's not as simple as that. So yeah, that's kind of my experience wrestling guys. It's not so different. I mean, some guys fucking stink. Wash your gear, wash your balls, but also some girls stink. So what can you do? But yeah, other than that, I've had pretty good experiences so far. I've wrestled quite a few guys in my time. I haven't had, you know, too many problems. It's just human nature, you know, whether it's men or whether it's women, you've just got to know how to handle different personalities and make the most out of the situation that you're in. But yeah, that's my experience. Guys, if you like this video, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Until then, make sure you keep it on the SDL.